This is 731. We're going to be solving rational equations. And so in this lesson, the objective is for you to be able to solve rational equations. Now, when solving a rational equation, we just have to be careful because the strategy, and this is the strategy that we need to adopt, the strategy is we need to clear the denominator. It's a rational equation because there's something in the denominator, and we want to clear the denominator. And then, if you remember back in chapter 2, we get extraneous solutions. We need to make sure that it doesn't violate the domain. So, I have an x minus 1 in the denominator. So I can multiply everything by x minus 1 to get rid of the denominator here. So now I get x cubed minus 2x plus 1. And this equals, now it says 1/2 x, but I can look at that as x over 2. And that's times the x minus 1. And then minus x minus 1. Now I can multiply everything by 2. So times 2, times 2, times 2, times 2, and times 2. And so the times 2's cancel out there. So now I get 2x cubed minus 4x plus 2. And then now I can distribute. So then that's going to be x squared minus x. And I can distribute, so that's going to be minus 2x plus 2. And so this is going to be x squared minus 3x plus 2. And then we want it to equal 0, so bring everything to one side. So 2x cubed minus x squared minus x, and then that equals 0. Now there's an x in common, so I can factor an x out. And so now we have a times c, we have negative 2, factors of negative 2 that add to negative 1, so that'll be negative 2 and positive 1. So 2x squared minus 2x plus x minus 1, factor by grouping, factor out the 2, and then x. And then here it's still just x minus 1, so that's going to be 2x plus 1, and then x minus 1. And then I still have that x in the front. So now if I set each of those equal to 0, you get x equals 0. I have 2x plus 1 equals 0, and I have x minus 1 equals 0. So I have x equals 0, subtract 1, divide by 2, and then add 1. So here are my values for x. Now we have to check in the very beginning. We have those extraneous solutions. In the very beginning here, I have this exclusion where I'm dividing by x minus 1. So if I plug in 1, you're dividing by 0. Well, it just so happens that where x equals 1, if I plug that in, I'm going to get something over 0. So I have to exclude that from my solution because it's an extraneous solution. So my only two possible answers are going to be these. Let's look at another one. So I have this x squared plus 1 in the bottom. To get rid of it, I multiply both sides by x squared plus 1. So that's going to cancel out. Subtract the 3x, add the 1. Now I want to see, does that factor? A times c factors that add to b, so that should be this. So x equals 2 and positive 1. Now if I plug those back in, plug in 2, I divide by 5. We're okay. If I plug in 1, I divide by 2. We're okay. So there's no extraneous solutions. So those are my answers. Very last one. Multiply both sides by x plus 1. So then you get 2x plus 17 equals, now this you can multiply it out. Now I can combine everything. So this becomes 6x, and if I minus 2x, then I get 4x. And then minus 17, so that's going to give me minus 12. A times c, factors that add to 4, so that should be 6 and negative 2. So x equals negative 6 and positive 2. Plug them back in. If I plug in negative 6, I'm not dividing by 0, so therefore it works. If I plug in 2, I get 2 plus 1, which is 3. It's not dividing by 0, so these are my solutions. So what did we learn today? We learned how to solve rational equations. It should be kind of a review because we did talk about it a little bit, but the emphasis here is the domain. Remember, when we find our solutions, we can't violate the domain, so therefore we just make sure that we don't divide by zeros. And so do we have to consider the domain when solving a rational equation? The answer is yes. Because if your answer, if you plug it back in, goes against the domain, that's your extraneous solution. This does conclude our lesson. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments.